Ramona, agree that PG was being a poor sport there.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of had 2 moments of poor sportsmanship in this series, right? Where he dunked at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And then he didn't like the question from Kerry Eggers, and he said, next question. That's what precipitated that.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's 2 moments, and it's hard for me with Paul because he generally is really a good media guy. He's accountable for things, but it's not been his finest hour in front of the cameras lately.
This is what I'll say. Obviously, the comment was made 20 minutes after that shot happened to end his season.
Yeah.
It's a real sensitive time. So I'm not mad at him for saying what he said. I'm going to disagree with Damian. I'm not going to say it's bad defense. I would just say that it could have been better defense because that was decent defense. But Damian's right. There's a point where Damian's dribbling and he's looking at the clock on top of the basket. George is supposed to be looking at the clock on top of the basket on the other end.
Yeah.
Right.
And at some point, when there's about 2 seconds,
You got to know he's got to go.
he can't beat you.
Right.
He can't beat you off the dribble. So then that's when you press up and you get a good contest in there. But again, we're nitpicking here. This was a case of great offense beating pretty good defense.
So what I would say is, and I think Rachel kind of alluded to this the other day, which was, look, that's a bad shot for almost everyone, except Damian Lillard, who had 8 out of 12, I guess, in that series from 30 and beyond.
And 39% for the year.
Right, and not to mention that earlier in that game, he hit a shot that was from similar distance, okay? Like, do we have the clip of that? Do we have the clip of him hitting that shot? Because, look, this was earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Now that's bad defense.
Right.
That right there was bad defense, right?
And look at the last shot.
Yeah, they're very close. But again, I think like this one, there's no contest. He's just kind of looking at him. But the idea on the second shot is, even though he is getting his hands up, is that he's got to play up closer once he knows the clock has reached a point where he can't beat me off the dribble anywhere, right? There's a finite amount of time for him to get the shot off. But again, we're talking about elite awareness, right? I'm talking about LeBron James, Andre Iguodala.
Right.
I can't, like maybe Chris Paul.
Right.
It's like a small number of guys in this league who have that next level, just knowing when the clock is.
Right.
And I'm not going to fault Paul George, who I thought got a good contest.
Yes, I agree.
But not the best.
The other thing, too, is you don't want to get too close because you don't want to lean into a foul.
Foul, yep.
Correct.
Yep.
So I actually thought his defense was fine. You hang back, and if you're too close, then Damian can draw a foul right there at the end and then throw up a shot.
I mean, I guess the preferable thing would have been if he, wait like he did, then when there's 2 seconds to go, start guarding him like the Utah Jazz guard Harden, almost shading him to the side on his strong side on his shooting hand. And then if he gets past you, even when he goes up, you still have a very clean contest right there without going body to body. Because remember, Paul George is 6'9".
Yeah.
Damian Lillard is 6'2", 6'3".
Right.
So
I understand
he doesn't have to
your season
jump.
is just over, though, and you're upset about it.
Yeah.
So, I understand where Paul's at saying something in that. He's a competitor. It takes a minute to, but the performance Dame had in that game, how can you, as a competitor, not say anything other than the guy was amazing that night?
Well, look, I generally...
It was an amazing shot.
I generally don't like to judge people by their worst moment. And as you pointed out, he had some poor sportsmanship moments there. I do think Paul George is an unbelievable talent and a good guy, right? I don't think there's any question about that. Any interactions I've had with him professionally have been fantastic. So, but I will say this, that again, everyone's allowed a bad moment here or there. Even LeBron James, who's generally been fantastic in public moments, has had a few of these.
I'll tell you what, Ramona brought it up. The next question to Kerry Eggers was a way worse moment than answering that question saying that was a bad shot. I agree. I was way more understanding of it. It's human for him to do. The next question thing, that was a bad moment for him.
Yeah, for sure. But again, everybody's had a moment at a press conference that they'd like to take back, I'm sure. And Paul George is just great, in general.